Amanda, what's going on?
Hey, Keith. Where have you been? Where are you going? What are you doing?
Well, I'm in my car right now, and to give everybody the visual that I'm in my car, I'm sitting in Gimbel's parking lot. I just had yellow finches flying in front of me and a rabbit running across the yard. So one of these days, our friends will have to stop by when we do a celebration of this new property, you know?
Indeed, it's an exciting time over at Gimbel Financial, and I know, shameless plug here, but we do have a event coming up September 14th through the 18th. So if you're interested, give us a call. See the progress we're making.
I heard it may be some of the best barbecue out there, but I don't know.
I can't say one way or the other, but I love the sound of barbecue.
They'll just have to show up to figure it out, right?
They'll be the judge.
Well, the world does not stop for me. I am regularly going to see clients when they're able and willing, based on their concerns on the COVID situation. And so last week I made my way to Bloomington, Indiana.
What a beautiful place to go, and not far.
It's for me, it's a good place to love or to hate. It just depends on. And I do both. Like, I love going down there, and I love the attitude of the local restaurants that's prevalent there, that's a little harder to find sometimes in big cities. I love the college environment. Sometimes I hate the crowds. I hate that the city has put parking meters everywhere and that you can get a parking ticket if you don't pay attention. And so it's just good and bad, but it's Bloomington. And so I loaded up to go see a client for which I love. I enjoy hanging out and encouraging them in their journey. And we had an appointment at a lunch place, but as I was going down there, what I noticed is I-69 is moving forward irregardless of what's been going on with COVID. Have you been down to Bloomington lately?
I haven't, but it sounds like things are happening even in the pandemic.
A lot of this has been going on all year, but they're down in Martinsville. There used to be a Jeep dealer, and that thing has been replaced with an open field now that it's got grass growing up just like the backyard at Gimbel. It has evidently moved somewhere. I didn't take the time to see where that was, but between Martinsville and Indianapolis, there's either 3 or 4, I forgot the number, of overpasses that are being built. Some of them actually have the steel beams going across the interstate, the future interstate, and some of them are ready to put the beams there. But that is going on, and it's been developing pretty aggressively since, I don't know, March. Well, I've made a couple trips down there, but I wasn't as aware as this time. But March, none of those were in place in March.
That's an encouraging thing, is what it sounds like.
I think it's pretty cool. I think in that same observation, one of the things I've observed on the road was the reality. Peter Cottontail just came running at me. Sorry.
ADD.
Where was I? Bloomington. The reality that this particular event going on in American history is probably being more punishing to, I would say, traditional college jobs than maybe those non-college jobs. It seemed to me evident that the construction workers are really unfazed, that construction around the country and around Indiana has not let up. Even our building, the people that would ordinarily be doing that if the economy had slowed down, they would be here working on a regular basis, but there's a lot of demand for them. The restaurant workers, there's demand for them. The grocery workers, all the things that are careers that don't seem to require a college education, trades, the mechanics at car shops and things like that, those people are fully lined up with work for them to do. And so that event, if you were a recent college graduate or a high school graduate, might cause you to rethink what type of roles are most stable going forward. It used to think your college job was, but our government's response to this and not acting in an incremental way, but in a just across the board shutting down the economy has really punished those people. I think most that have had college degrees. But that's a whole separate idea. Everybody's hurting somewhat from what's going on. The other thing I noticed was the Bloomington City has been adapting pretty quickly to this thing. They put these holes in the ground at several intersections that are capped. They have like a metal cap that goes in these holes, and they're about that big around, and they can pull those caps out and put poles in there to shut off sections of the streets, which then those sections of the streets open up space for restaurants to move more seating outside to allow for the social distancing. So the city and the commerce have worked together to provide some solution with that. And as an investor, it would suggest to me that there are businesses that will be profiting from that sort of thing going on, not only locally, but around the country. Things like outdoor heaters, outdoor air conditioners, outdoor fans. The people that are doing those things, I would imagine their businesses are thriving around now.
I like that concept of creating a street where it's just kind of open and there are no cars to disrupt, and you can enjoy being outside or inside as much as you want. I have to say I'm for that.
Well, I discovered a business park about a mile from the office here that had done that. I didn't know it. I was there this morning, and they not only had done that, they rerouted traffic, but they painted the street with colorful decoration, and it kind of gives you the encouragement to come outside. And I think that's going to be one of the positive things that's come out of COVID, is that I think people had been too accustomed to being inside, and more people are going to go outside, and so that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
On the negative, I noticed is the public libraries down there are still closed, and I don't know why that is. I would think you could easily accomplish social distancing in a library. I know bookstores are back open, and a bookstore and a library is a pretty similar thing. So maybe it's the difference between the government type work versus the free enterprise work, where you don't really have the option to close your business any longer than necessary. And so I don't know what the situation is there, but there are certain people that the closure of the library may not matter. People that have some tech savvy. The Bloomington Library has curbside service, but you need to have some tech savvy and be able to get on the internet, which there's still people out there that can't get on the internet. Probably your older people that read traditional books probably aren't going to be as much on the internet as younger people, so it may not be as disruptive to them. But the older people who are probably more anxious anyway, because they're more at risk with the COVID, are probably having harder times even accessing things at public service like that, because I wouldn't, if I were not able to navigate the internet, I wouldn't even know what book to order online. I wouldn't be able to do it online. I'd have to call them and try to figure out what book I want. And so that would cause a different way of navigating for those people. And I know it's a smaller subset of people, but it's still an important subset of people.
Or just the cost of books, to argue that as well. A lot of people rely on the library for free books, free entertainment.
Yeah, and so one of my friends down there, I know that they had to just pull out their old library and start rereading books they had, because they couldn't get into the library. The other thing I noticed, though, was IU was opening back up, and I've paid for a degree from IU, and so not my own, but an offspring, and so that's a good thing. And then the final thing was that the students down there seemed a lot more concerned about the COVID situation than the administrators did, and the data seems to think that the students are probably in a low risk situation, but the administrators, I'm not sure what their anxiety is, maybe a little bit of afraid that the students might take that stuff back home. But it would seem like the creativity that you're trying to get with it in a university setting would allow them to come up with a solution for these things. If the future leaders are the ones that are going to be going there, that they might be creating solutions or even integrating the students to come up with solutions. So that's my thoughts. That's the road to Bloomington. So anything else I can tell you?
I can't think of anything this week, but I'm looking forward to next week, or in the next couple of weeks. I think you've got a new road trip scheduled.
Well, I'll get back to you, and I hope everybody out there is doing well and being safe.
Right on. Take care, everyone. Thanks.
Bye-bye.